The beggar girl said, "Don't eat that." And the words came out so sharp, so desperate, that the billionaire actually paused mid-bite. That pause, just 1 second long, was the moment everything began to change. If you're watching this right now, stay with me till the end, because what he saw next is the reason this story refuses to let go of the heart. And before you forget, if stories like this move something inside you, tap like and subscribe. You never know which story might change your own perspective one day. Armin Halim had spent his life being untouchable. Billionaire, tech mogul, media darling, his name alone opened doors, silenced rooms, and bent rules. That evening, he sat in the back corner of a high-end street cafe, one of those places that pretended to be authentic, while charging a week's salary for a single plate. He liked it here because people rarely disturbed him. His security stayed a few steps away, trained to watch but not hover. Armin lifted his fork, eyes on his phone, scrolling through reports and numbers that meant nothing to him anymore. That's when the voice cut through the noise. "Don't eat that." People turned. The cafe went quiet in that awkward, uncomfortable way. Standing a few feet from Armin was a thin, dust-covered girl, maybe 10 or 11 years old. Her hair was tangled, her clothes too big and torn at the edges, and her feet were bare on the cold stone ground. Everyone assumed she was begging. Everyone except Armin, who felt something strange tighten in his chest. Not pity, not anger, but confusion. One of the guards moved forward immediately. "Get back," he snapped. But the girl didn't flinch. Her eyes were locked on the plate. "Please," she said, softer now. "Don't eat it." Armin frowned. "Why?" he asked, surprising even himself by speaking. The girl swallowed. Because it's bad. I saw it." A few people laughed. Someone muttered, "Kids these days." The waiter stiffened, offended. "Sir, the food is perfectly." Armin raised a hand, silencing him. He looked at the girl closely now. Her hands were shaking. This wasn't a trick. This wasn't rehearsed. This was fear. "What did you see?" Armin asked. She hesitated, glancing at the guards, at the people watching. "I was behind," she said quietly. "Near the back door. I saw the man put something in it. He was angry. He said rich people deserve it." The cafe manager rushed over, face red. "This is ridiculous. She's lying. She's just trying to get." But Armin stood up, slowly, calmly. "Bring me the plate," he said to the guard. The guard obeyed. Armin didn't touch the food again. He motioned to another guard. "Call the police. And the health inspectors." The cafe erupted into noise. Protests, arguments, denial. The girl stood frozen, like she expected to be punished for speaking. 10 minutes later, the truth came out. A disgruntled kitchen worker, recently fired, had slipped poison into one plate, the most expensive one on the menu. Armin's plate. If Armin had eaten one more bite, he wouldn't have made it to the hospital. When the police led the man away, Armin turned back to the girl. She was trying to slip away now, shrinking back into the crowd like she'd done something wrong. "Wait," Armin said. She stopped. "What's your name?" he asked. "Zoya," she whispered. He nodded. "You saved my life." She looked up, eyes wide. "I just didn't want you to die." Those words followed Armin home that night. Not the headlines. Not the calls from investors. Not even the shock of how close he'd come to death. Just that simple sentence. "I just didn't want you to die." The next morning, Armin sent people to find her. Not to give her money and disappear her from his conscience, but to understand her. They found her under a bridge with 3 other children. No parents. No school. Just survival. Armin went himself. Zoya didn't recognize him at first. When she did, she panicked, thinking she was in trouble. But Armin sat down on the dirty ground beside her, ignoring the looks from his own team. "Why were you near the back door?" he asked. She shrugged. "Sometimes they throw food." That answer hit harder than any accusation ever could. Over the next weeks, Armin learned her story. Her parents had died years ago. She'd bounced between relatives who didn't want her, then onto the streets. She learned early that if you stayed quiet, you survived. That night at the cafe was the first time she'd ever spoken up for someone else. Armin tried to help in the way he knew best: money, shelters, donations. But something was wrong. Zoya stayed distant, quiet, watching. One day she finally said, "You don't see us." He blinked. "What do you mean?" "You help," she said. "But you don't see." That sentence broke something open inside him. Armin realized his entire life was built on distance. Glass offices, tinted windows, filters between him and reality. Zoya had seen him more clearly in one moment than he'd seen the world in 40 years. So he changed how he helped. He didn't just fund shelters, he spent nights there. He didn't just open schools, he sat in classrooms. He listened, really listened, to kids like Zoya who weren't statistics but stories. Zoya went to school for the first time. She struggled, she cried, she wanted to quit, but Armin kept showing up, not as a savior, but as someone who believed she mattered. Years passed. Zoya grew into a confident young woman. She studied law. She spoke fiercely about justice, about voices ignored, about how one warning from a beggar girl saved a billionaire, and how many lives could be saved if people simply listened. On the day she graduated, Armin sat in the front row, tears in his eyes. Later, when reporters asked him what his greatest achievement was, he didn't name a company or a deal. He said, listening when it would have been easier not to. And if this story touched you, if it reminded you that the smallest voices can carry the biggest truths, don't just move on. Like this video. Subscribe to the channel. Share it with someone who needs the reminder. Because sometimes, one warning, one moment of listening, is all it takes to save a life, or change one forever.